Alors bonsoir tout le monde.
So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this regular public meeting of the Dieppe City Council, this 27th of May. When we think of the climate, it's almost, we think of April. That's why I almost said April, but I did say 27th of May. So, for our welcome words, dear colleagues, let's have the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So good evening, everyone. The call to order, confirmation of quorum by our clerk. As it's very clear that everybody is present. So we go to the adoption of the agenda, moved by Councillor, seconded by Councillor Cormier on the question. No question? All those in favor of the adoption of the agenda, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The agenda is carried as presented. Item number 7, presentations, inquiries, and petitions. 7.1, inquiries by council members to the representative of the Kodiak Regional RCMP. We have one light that is on. Monsieur Alain. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How are things? Monsieur Le Breton, is that it? Yes, question. There's a lot of garbage on our roads and streets. I wonder if you could ask your members if they had any difficulties and any problems. I mean, cars. Is there a safety element concerning all the garbage? Over the last week in the streets of Dieppe, there was a special pickup, so we're waiting for our supplier to pick up the garbage. So is it a question of, maybe, are there people who have put in complaints? So I was wondering, is it a kind of an issue for our municipality? No problems. I'll be checking. I haven't heard anything. If there are any complaints, I'm not saying that there have not been no complaints. I just haven't heard, and I'll let you know. Thank you, Monsieur Thibaudot. It's not a question, but I received a couple of complaints concerning speed in the Lakeburn area. Thursday last, in the evening, there was a motorcycle and 3 cars basically racing. And they were going, the guy told me it was 150 miles an hour. I don't think it's possible, but okay, there's a little bit of exaggeration there, but I know that you can't be everywhere. But apparently there's a resident in the area that phoned the RCMP and no one showed up. Do you have the date? Okay, maybe we can talk afterwards because we didn't check to see if there was an investigation after the call. And then I can make sure that our member will call the complainant. I don't know who. Do you have any idea approximately what day, what time? Because it was last Thursday evening, the 23rd. I'll check in the Lakeburn area for speeding complaints, and I'll let you know. Thank you. Anybody else? No? So, if not, we go to the next item. Mr. Mayor, oh yes, I'm sorry, I almost forgot you. If you have things to tell us, well, if you don't mind, no, we don't mind, it's with pleasure. I mean, I'm here to give you a little bit of news from us. Just to tell you about last month's activities and the complaints that we answered to, altogether 2,720 complaints that were investigated by our members. 3,808 complaints where it's our members who call the people complaining because they don't move around. So that's a total of almost 6,000 complaints. This is just only last month. So we had the opportunity to have 182 prisoners in our cells, and we checked 148 people who were then released, but who must be at home at a certain time. So of the 148, 8 were arrested because they didn't follow the orders from the court. Then 165 tickets, speeding, belt inspection, etc. We had almost 111 accidents that were reported, and 85 offenses on alcohol, driving under the influence. Members had to investigate. Well, not just alcohol, but drugs also. So we had 20 accidents where there were injured people, and unfortunately there was one person who died in a car accident. So that's about it for last month concerning our activities. Okay, so you had a pretty busy month. Yeah, no, and it's not summer yet. So that's all for me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Question, Monsieur Brideau. Monsieur Breton, I'm aware that last week there was a robbery at the Canadian Tire in Dieppe. During the evening, we got in with a crowbar. There was a lot of theft before the alarm was triggered. The person who works the bar says that they were really organized. They came with a truck. They were in front of the door. They crowbarred themselves inside, and it's doors, and they emptied out all the cigarettes that were on the counter, and they left. And even with the camera, I mean, the license plates were taped up, so it was impossible to see them. So it was impossible to catch them. So are there any other types of thefts like this in our community? Yeah, on a fairly regular basis. Some groups are more sophisticated than others, but it's fairly common to have organizations that are the victims of theft. Right now we're we're investigating on something, and we hope that we'll be able to catch them soon. We have an idea as to who it might be. Thank you. Thank you, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question of clarification. When you talk about accidents that are reported, you said that there were 111 that were reported. When somebody calls and the RCMP doesn't go there and they say, okay, share your documents, is it still reported as an accident? If the member doesn't have to go on the site, it's not documented. Yeah, I'll have to check, but I'm not sure. So according to my statistics here, this is where there have been an accident and there's a fatality or injuries, and they are reported, but sometimes under $5,000. So they just exchange the information and that's it. Yeah, I'll check. Yeah, I'm curious because we see the reports in this year PA, and I was just wondering if it was all documented, because usually people are going to call the RCMP to say, okay, I've had an accident, but if it's not above a certain amount, it's just a question of exchanging information, and that's it. So I was wondering if it was reported in the figures. I'll check, thank you, and I'll get you back. Okay, thank you. So, Monsieur Le Breton, yeah, it was worth your while coming tonight, right? Is that it? Okay, thank you. So we continue, and item number 8, questions by members of the public. You had a question? Yes, please move to the microphone. Good evening. I'm Thérèse Lafrenière, and I live in Dieppe. It's been 30 years. Madame Lafrenière, right? It's costs for water and sewer. It's the same for all citizens, no matter what their revenue is. I talked to Roger Mélenchon. Is he here? Mark Melanson, is he here? No, it's the empty chair next to me here. I can't see the names here, so. The logo was equity and opportunity. These are extreme costs for water and sewer. It's the same thing for everybody. So I see a lot of waste. I've seen people who was cleaning the asphalt of their driveway. I mean, we don't have a system with 3 different quality water. So it's, we're trying to save water, and the costs, they're not ecological either. I was told that to put in meters is too expensive. So my proposition, with proof of revenue from tax, we could do like NB Energy, the costs of the people with low income could be spared slightly. I don't think it would be exaggerated to do something like that. It would be equitable. Our responsible person for finances, Mr. Tellier, I see him taking notes. He's the one who's responsible for all the financial aspects, the money aspects. So I don't know if there's an explanation, maybe to explain how we get to the rate that we have. I just make $21,000 a year, and the costs for water and sewer are very high, a certain amount per month. When I had a rebate by NB Energy, but it's reached the point where in my budget I have to dig into my grocery and medication budget to pay the water and sewer tax. So it's not exaggerated. It's really asking very little, and it would be helping a lot. I mean, they could give you the proof of income through income tax. So we'll be taking your comments in consideration. We recognize that it's not easy to manage our finances, but the municipality is in the same situation. We have bills to pay, and we try to make it as equitable as possible. Obviously, installing meters is something that we look at on a regular basis, periodically, because there's an enormous cost. If you think that your water bill is high, let me tell you that if we put in the meter system, you would see quite an increase in the cost of water and sewer, because, sorry, I speak with my hands sometimes, so I hit the mic, but the meter is, installing the meters would be very expensive. So we do recognize that there would be an advantage, ecologically speaking, in the fact that we'd save money, but the studies that we've had do not necessarily demonstrate that fact. So I don't know, Monsieur Thériault, if you have anything to add on this discussion. Not for the time being, obviously. It's not something that we feel that we've thought of giving rebates, because if we do start doing that, it means that other people are going to be paying more. But obviously, we're going to see if it's something that's done elsewhere. And NB Energy does it. It's done for property taxes. I'm at the Bel Air condo. Maybe you imagine very, very beautiful houses, but they're just normal townhouses with just one person. So it doesn't. They don't consume much water. There's no garden or pool or anything like that. So this is a kind of a proposal. So I hope to hear about it soon, because the cost of life is increasing, and it's more difficult for the ones who have very little revenue. Thank you for your comments, your intervention. We will contact you with an answer, but it will not be tomorrow morning, though. Okay, thank you very much. Maybe to make sure that we have your information, contact information. Madame Julie is going to take care of that. Okay, thank you. Nobody else? So we go to item 9. Regular council meeting held on May 13th last. Adoption of minutes. Somebody to move. Madame Arsenault, seconded by Monsieur Thibodeau. On the question. No questions. So all those in favor of the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting held on the 13th of May, signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The minutes are accepted as presented. Item 10.1, administration. We're talking about the election of our deputy mayor for the last year of the term. Monsieur Thibodeau, does the motion? Yes. Pursuant to Bylaw A4 2018, entitled Procedural Bylaw of the Municipal Council of the City of Dieppe, the Council elect Councillor Ted Godet as Deputy Mayor for a term ending May 11, 2020. So moved. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Thibodeau, seconded by Councillor Brideau. On the question. No questions? All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Congratulations, Monsieur Godet. Sometimes I'm not sure of the term congratulations, but well, hey, listen, you applied for it, you got it. 10.2.1. Monsieur Stéphane, Monsieur Simard, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, all. Here, we're asking you to ratify a directive by reading it publicly. Concerns the development of artificial turf field, contribution of 1/3 of the project up to a maximum amount of $1 million. For the reading of the resolution, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That Council authorized staff to continue with the development planning of an artificial turf field at the École Mathieu Martin and accept to contribute 1/3 of the project cost up to a maximum amount of $1 million. So moved. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Alain. On the question. No question? Oh, sorry, Mr. Godet. Mr. Mayor, could we have an idea? We say 1/3. Where do we have players in place who are working on those the other 2/3? Monsieur Simard. I don't have the answer with me. So, sorry, Monsieur Bourque. We've put in requests federally and provincially with the infrastructure program that was announced earlier. And also there's a community group composed of volunteers, former football and soccer players from Mathieu Martin who are committing themselves to pick up a certain amount of money. So we're talking about maybe the group could collect 10% of the project, something like that, with the requests that we've put in. Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Any other question? If not, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.3.1 Partnership Pilot Project Diversity Champion Expansion Dieppe. Monsieur Simard, the municipality, in partnership with United Way and other stakeholders, continue with the Diversity Champion pilot project for a second year. Amount of $1,500. Reading of the resolution, Monsieur Brideau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council accept to continue its partnership with United Way and other stakeholders in order to continue with the Diversity Champion pilot project for a second year. Authorize a financial contribution in the amount of $1,500 for said project, and further authorize that this expenditure be defrayed from account number 1-2-20-14-2150, General Operating Budget, Organizational Performance. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Brideau, seconded by Councillor Leboutillier on the question. No question. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.4.1 Formality to add a new signer, the new deputy mayor. The reading of the resolution, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That Yvon Lapierre, Mayor, or Councillor Ted Godette, Deputy Mayor, and Stéphane Thériault, Treasurer, or Steve Landry, Assistant Treasurer, be hereby authorized to sign all checks issued for and on behalf of the City of Dieppe. So moved. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Councillor Alain on the question. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. Carried as presented. 10.5.1, Monsieur Simard. Yes, in this point, it's the market, Alain Gillette Street extension. The lowest bidder was Modern Construction, 1983 Limited, at the cost of $1,016,178 plus HST. Authorized WSP Canada to undertake engineering services. This is a project that is going to be going to the intersection of Gauvin and Alain Gillette. You find it on page 71 of the kit. The amounts in this case will be requested from the developer. For the reading of the resolution, Monsieur Alain. Thank you. That Council award the tender for the Alain Gillette Street Extension Project to the lowest bidder, Modern Construction, 1983 Limited, at the cost of $1,016,178 plus HST. Authorized WSP Canada Inc. to undertake engineering services relating to said project at the cost of $155,000 plus HST. And further authorize these expenditures be defrayed from accounts number 3-3-35-58-7640. General Capital Budget Extension Alain Gillette Street, and number 4-3-90-58-7640 Water and Sewer Capital Budget Extension Alain Gillette Street. So moved. Moved by Councillor Alain, seconded by Councillor Thibodeau on the question. Although no questions, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, nay. The resolution is carried as presented. 10.6.1 3+ Economic Development Corporation. Yes, it's just a question of appointing Guy Duguay to the Board of Directors of 3+ Economic Development Corporation. That Council appoint Guy Duguay on the Board of Directors of the 3+ Economic Development Corporation for another term ending June 9th, 2022. So moved. Moved by Councillor Cormier, seconded by Councillor Arsenault. On the question, no questions. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Next item, Expansion Dieppe. Once again, here it's a question of appointing people to the Board of Directors of Expansion Dieppe. So we have André Pelletier, Claude Paré, Yolande Landry, and Stéphane Thériault. So for the reading of the resolution, Madame Le Boutillier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council appoint the following members on Expansion Dieppe's Board of Directors. André Pelletier, 3-year term ending June 30th, 2022, appointed by the Mayor. Claude Paré, 2-year term ending June 30th, 2021. Yolande Landry, 3-year term ending June 30th, 2022. And Stéphane Thériault, staff representative, 2-year term ending June 30th, 2021. So moved. Moved by Councillor Le Boutillier, seconded by Councillor Alain. On the question, no questions. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Carried as presented. Item 10.7.1, Monsieur Simard. Yes. In summary, here it's accepting a recommendation from the Planning Advisory Committee for the 5-story multifamily on Lafayette Street. For the reading of the resolution, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Council repeal the resolution and conditions adopted on September 23, 2013 relating to bylaw Z-8-32 registered at the registry office under number 332-80067 on November 5, 2013 and adopt the following. That Council accept the recommendation made on May 15, 2019 by the Planning Advisory Committee for amendments to the conditions relating to bylaw Z-8-32 registered at the registry office on November 5, 2013 under number 332-80067 pertaining to the property identified under PID 704-74176 and located on Lafayette Street to permit the development of a 5-story 79-unit multiple dwelling. That Council further accept that the said application be subject to Section 59 of the Community Planning Act and the following conditions. A, that the property be developed in general conformity with the development plan entitled Site Plan, dated April 8th, 2019, for the Lafayette Multi-Res project and attached to the memorandum dated May 15, 29 as Appendix 1. B, that the said multiple unit dwelling be developed in general conformity by incorporating the architectural elements shown in the elevation profile entitled Elevations, dated April 8, 2019 for the Lafayette Multi-Res project and attached to the memorandum dated May 15, 2019 as Appendix 2. C, unless specifically excluded from the list of conditions, all other provisions of the zoning bylaw apply. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Leblanc, seconded by Madame Arsenault. On the question. Question, Madame Le Boutillier. Just to find out, did we send letters to the residents? Have residents? Yes, we sent notices, like as usual, and we've received no comments. That was the before the public hearing. But if I remember properly, there had been one comment by an owner of a lot behind the project who was in favor of the project. It wasn't written, but it was by phone call. Monsieur Fronette had mentioned it. Yes, so we had the discussions with the owner because he was in favor, because I think he himself was also planning something. So in general, he considered the project under good light. Excellent, thank you. So all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded, nay. That's it. That's municipal bylaws, none. I still have to go through the list. The notices of motion, none. Inquiries and announcements by members of council. I think Monsieur Gaudette is pointing to Monsieur Alain, so it's his turn to start. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I always need help with my memory here. Yeah, we all need that. I want to give my congratulations. First of all, to Daniel Leblanc. He's a director of assistant director of Huskies from Rouyn-Noranda, a great friend. He's from Dieppe. So I want to congratulate him for his win over the weekend. Another one, Philip Myers, who's Dieppe, who played with the Canada team at the international, the silver medal. And my comment tonight, great frustration on the special pickup of garbage that occurred. Mr. Deputy Director, I received a lot of calls. It's crazy. I'm using the word for the second time. It's crazy. If in 2019 we can't organize a special garbage pickup, we have to find out what the, we have to find out from the supplier if he can do the job. I'd like to have information concerning this special garbage pickup. Who's the supplier? What are the criteria that we give him? Because it's been a week that we're living in a dump, basically. Just visually, it's not acceptable at all. So I'd like to have some information, and certainly also, when is what's the time limit? When is this garbage going to disappear? We've seen this for 7 days, and there's nothing going on. So I'd like to have a couple of answers. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Comments, answers? The little information that I have is that this year there's way more volume of garbage than we anticipated. Another element that we have is that we added trucks to speed up the collection, but that being said, I can still check with the Public Works Services to see what happened. I know that there's also so there's another activity going on in the streets at the same time, so maybe we can separate those two activities instead of having them together. So I'm going to check up on that, and I'll get back to you on it. Madame Arsenault, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to add, yes, we added 2 trucks, but maybe, yes, both should be separate. The garbage pickup in May, for example, and then the street treasures in June. In other words, a month after that. Yeah, okay, so it's your turn. Yeah, so I can continue. I think Monsieur Alain was finished, yes. I'm really happy to see that the pothole asphalting has started. I think also there's the painting of the lines has started, so I'm really happy to see this. Am I mistaken? Or on Champlain Street, we can see the lines much better than before. Maybe it's just because there's no snow. Another thing is also the D of the sign for Dieppe on the sign when on Champlain Street. I'm happy to see that there's part of the design. Also, the participatory budget, I see that Luc Richard is not here. Thursday on the 30th of May at the Boys and Girls Club, there are suggestions for those who are interested in a dog park. So if you want to have your opinion heard, please come vote. That'll be on the 30th of May at 7 p.m. and the information 877-7900. Something, because it's the spring, whether you believe it or not, the Béliveau fruit farm is in full bloom, so go and see it on the 2nd of June at Verger Béliveau. Thank you, Madame Arsenault. Monsieur Thibaudot. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question that for Monsieur Simard or Madame Spencer. It's property. When it was built, the plans specified there had to be a swirl all along the there should have been drains that brought the water somewhere else. The inspectors did their job and everything was correct. But following that, the street that's on the other side, it's a little higher, the owners filled in those things. So, and I asked the questions to the engineers, and they said it's between the two neighbors. So if somebody is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, which is a regulation of the municipality, that slight ditch should not be filled in, are we not? Should we not force them to do differently? Thank you. Yes, the director talked to me about this situation. The engineering services can go to the owner and make a suggestion. It depends on whether the construction occurred before the three-step permit that ensures that we have a draining plan that is registered with the land, if it makes a difference. If it's prior to that, it's a civil case and it's between neighbors, but we can make suggestions. But I said that there were going to be a follow-up, so maybe if you give me the information, we'd like to go see on-site to make suggestions. But once again, it'll depend on when exactly the construction occurred. The swirl was put there, and it's when the construction in the backlog that happened that they filled it up. So I don't know if we should have another inspection, maybe. But like I mentioned, that's why we set up the three-step permit system, because the problem is if it's before that time, then the municipality has no recourse. But I mean, we're going to check and I'll get back with the information. Okay. Okay, and I also received complaints concerning the special garbage collection. Madame Le Boutillier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I also got complaints. Certainly, we hear a lot about it. Okay, first of all, I'd like to start expansion Dieppe. There's a job that was posted for director of special projects. The deadline is going to be the 10th of June. I think it'll be on. I think it's already on the social media. So those who are interested, there's a new job opening. And I'd like to congratulate, we have a new general director for 3+ Corporation, which is basically our investment corporation. Suzy Compo was just elected, or appointed, I should say. Today we read it in social media. And to conclude, I'd like to congratulate all the graduates of the University of Moncton. It happened at the weekend. It was beautiful to see the energy, and I wish you a great future, great careers. Thank you. Monsieur Brideau. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's To Madame Spencer, I don't know if you noticed on Gaspé Street last year, there was a lot of construction. It was rebuilt, new, really beautiful. Great. Recently, at Jean d'Arroy and Gaspé, there's already a big hole that's under the pavement, as if the road was starting to go down. So it's already a big dip. It's unfortunate because it was a new street, basically. We're going to have to dig again to rework it. So if it's possible to check. And that's all for me. Thank you. Councillor Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also have to mention, as Monsieur Alain, the deplorable condition of the special collection of garbage, and also drivers. The work has started on Charlottesville, Bahama, and Skyline, so drive safely. Yeah, it's going to be very beautiful once it's finished. We all know the process. Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Something that I noticed on Fox Creek Road, the section where our multifunctional, I noticed that there's two places where the water that comes down from the fields on top there, maybe we forgot or we didn't notice, we forgot to put a manhole there because the water goes from the field and it's always on the sidewalk that's there. Was something missed or something that we forgot? We never realized there was a natural path for water. Yeah, we're aware of two situations, probably the same. During the design, we tried to foresee things like that, but things might change. But we're aware that there's a problem, and we're going to make recommendations. Unfortunately, the contract is over, so it will be up to the team, the staff of the municipality to do the work. So the need is there. So we'll doing follow-ups. So something that was missed during the design, that or the conditions has changed. Right now, it's not that bad, but we always had that problem the winter. I mean, the water was draining there and it froze on the sidewalk. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware. So if you are aware, then we'll be waiting for a follow-up. Thank you. Thank you, Monsieur Leblanc. Monsieur Gaudette. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to talk about two activities that impressed me. First of all, it was the 25th anniversary of the Capitol Theatre. I have to congratulate them for their evening this past week. Basically, all artists were local artists, and it was very well balanced between Francophone and Anglophones. It was a magical evening. Usually people, when they leave the theater, they speed up to their cars, but that evening they took their time in leaving. So congratulations. And then the second one is the Oriental Gala, Saturday in a full house. The Capitol, there was more than 200 artists, from young children to professional artists from 6 different Asian countries. Colors were fantastic, and I went to the same gala last year, and this year was even much more beautiful. I don't know what they're going to do next year. It grows on a yearly basis, and it's a good sign that immigration works. Participation of the immigrants culturally is absolutely great. So congratulations. And lastly, I'd like to repeat the congratulations to Madame Campo. I think she's going to be a great addition to 3+ Development Corporation. And I wish her good luck in that job. Thank you, Monsieur Gadet. Oh, I turned my own mic off. That's pretty bad. I would also like to congratulate Madame Campos for having obtained the job at 3+, and I'd also like to comment on the show of the last month of Oriental Communities. It shows their commitment, their involvement, these newcomers in our region, how they get involved actively in our community. They open businesses. I know a few of them, even after 5 or 6 years, they already have 4 or 5 different businesses. So it's very active people. They work really hard. And the same thing yesterday. I was there at the beginning of the show, but I had to go to another show. That was a memorial ceremony to international students of the University of Moncton who graduated. It was the international students graduation ceremony. And once again, an excellent evening that shows clearly. And as you know, I very often have this pitch asking the youth to stay here. We need you, so we're asking them to stay here. And we know that it starts with a job when you graduate for the university. Last night there were quite a few comments on that with the speeches. I had the pleasure of meeting the first assistant of the Minister of Education of Ivory Coast, who was there, a representative, graduated from the University of Moncton yesterday. And my pitch was always, okay, look, now that you're here, I hope that you're going to stay here. You're not going to go back home. So maybe I kind of offended him. I thought I had offended him, but he said, no, not at all, Mr. Mayor. We understand the needs, demographic needs for your area, and I have the impression that my youth has changed over the last 4 years in this environment here, and how he has become an adult. So I can understand why he wants to stay here. So that's really good to hear this type of comment. We all know it. We have many needs concerning immigration. So it's kind of a priority for the Southeast, the whole province, but specifically the Southeast. So it's something that is successful, and we plan on continuing for sure. That being said, have a good evening to everyone, and may the best team win the Stanley Cup. I know that I hope that there will be many Canadians on the team, and go Raptors, go. Good evening to all.